autopilot.com to see.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm not talking to anybody. Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Appreciate you guys for being here. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. Uh, we have a great show today. Great broadcast. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Still Tuesday, June 6th. This is the Brothers of Legacy. That's when I'm supposed to drop something. Bam, 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 bam. Appreciate you guys for being here. Let's get into the comment section. What's up, Mama Corey in the building? Lisa in the building. Great morning. Blessings. Thank you for sharing. As they speak to each other, that's what I'm talking about. We build a community here at Brothers of Legacy Broadcast. Thank you guys for always hanging out and being a part of what we do every single day. Just about right now, Tuesday through Friday. So today we're talking about shifting from neutral to drive. So just quick, some news. Nothing deep. I was watching. Okay, so when you're watching YouTube, right? Let's just have a conversation. When you're watching YouTube, there's an ad, unless you got the preview. Shout out to you. There's an ad before the video. Excuse me. There's an ad before the video, and you generally, you wait your time. Or you might watch a little, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Skip. So apparently, and it's nothing secretive, everybody knows, Apple is coming out with a VR headset. And the ad for it popped up right before I was about to watch something, and I literally almost watched the whole thing. I mean, it's interesting because it's a new gadget, a new toy from Apple. So it's pretty interesting. The funny thing is, I don't know if the Facebook VR does kind of the same thing, because it's all about selling. It's all about selling. If Apple sells well, like their marketing, the way they do stuff, just sells well. And it was, of course, they talk about the sound, the way you look at things. You can literally, watch something while seeing what's around you, or just like the headsets. How they have the noise cancellation. You can do the same. So you can literally either be in a space where you're watching like this while you see stuff around you, or you can literally phase it out where you got the screen big, or you just got some background where you see nothing but this nice background, like photo, whatever, and what you're watching in front of you. So I watched, it's like a 3-minute ad almost, who watches a 3-minute ad, but it was I just was curious about all the bells and whistles, and so I started trying to look up the price, but obviously everybody mentions it's like $3,000, and I feel like this thing won't really be a thing until they give it away. Let me explain. Each one of us has a smartphone now, and Apple came out with a smartphone way back early 2000s, and for the most part, when they first started coming out, you had to buy it. I don't think there was a relationship. You had to straight up go to Apple, just like a computer. You had to go buy it, and it was a very few amount, a decent number of people that had the phone because they wanted it, they bought it, whatever. But the smartphone really didn't mass out until phone companies and smartphone companies got together and said, hey, find a way to give these things away, because that's the only way, it's going to pick up. And it did. It worked. And now we're stuck. Now we're buying them in payments, but we're buying them. Like for the most part, um, most of us can't. We can, you know, we want to like get the least expensive, but just getting all the way away from a smartphone, you're not going to really do because it does have some functionalities and things that a flip phone can't do. So I think the same thing with VR, because Facebook started, and there's not $3,000, they're like $300, and I was like, it's cool, but it has no real functionality in an everyday basis that we can see yet. I mean, it's cool. It's a getaway. It's like Apple was selling it, which was smart. They were doing a lot of, say, you're flying in a plane. Right? It was pretty cool. Like flying in a plane, you want to block things out. It's like, look at the baby crying. The lady turned the thing, made the baby disappear, turned the noise cancellation, can't hear the baby, can't see the baby, and can focus on what's in front of them. Like I don't have to focus on what's around me, you know. And so it showed some great applications in a sense where this would be great every day or great while you're flying or traveling and things of that nature. Um, the issue is this is going to further separate us as people. What do you mean, brother? What do you mean VR is going to further separate us as people? So bad enough, we already got our smartphones in our hands and we're like this the whole time. Honestly, like this the whole time. And I get it. You're busy. You're playing a game, just trying to get through the ride. You're waiting. But one of the things we miss out, you know, we network with people when we're in spaces that we are stuck in, if that makes sense. Like you're waiting. And like I've had parents, my dad, mom a little, more my dad, chat with the person next to them. you know, get a chance to meet people, get a chance to just interact, open up your network, open up your village, open up your world, because you get to meet different people and other folks around you. Now, if you have glasses, because then we already got headphones, since the 80s, the distractions started. Remember, we was always rocking on the headphones, we always had something in our ear, and we didn't really pay attention to what's going around us. And so my fear is that with these VR glasses, the initial, of course, because if you see the headset, the joints is like big. It's big. it seems pretty big. It's gonna get smaller, just like everything else. I'm sure it's gonna get down to wearing basic glass, probably gonna be like the big bifocal shades. You've seen those joints. Some of them, I think some of them are actual prescription. And when they start mixing that's another thing. So it's the big bifocal shades, and we're not gonna see around us. Wonder how long. Talk to me. He said, Chris says, wonder how long before someone interrupts my VR to talk to me about extended car warranty. It's gonna be right there, Chris. It's gonna be right there. It's gonna be actually what's gonna happen. And I'm sure, how like I said, you can turn the thing and it puts up a screen so you don't see anything but what you're watching in front of you. On the side, it's gonna be it's gonna be the warranty ads. That's what's gonna be on the side, the ads for warranty and all. You already know, depending on what app you're using, because it's gonna be a thing. So don't worry, warranties won't ever stop. But yeah, it's gonna further. I think it's gonna further distract us. It's gonna further cut us off from the world, and I think that's a problem. That's a problem. Like the interactions, and we meet people. People have met their wives on a train. Just random conversations. You meet your new best friend at the doctor's office, but you got glasses on. You're not seeing anything. anything around you. You know, I don't know. I guess it's just that old man in me that sees the worst of it. What's up, Philip? I mean, like, because everything we're already, like I said, super distracted with our phones. We just like this, like this. And I'm saying we're just super distracted with our phones. Super focused on, you know, what's in front of us, and it's fine. But at least we still are open to the world. So I think it's it's because it's where we're going. Because the thing is, like especially the augmented reality, right? I think that's cool because like you could literally get information about things in front of you. It's going to program. It's good to program the brain more. Right, right, right. Definitely, definitely, Thompson. Good morning, man. It's definitely going to program the brain more. Definitely, I think it's going to put us into a whole new space. Further distractions. Like at least there can be. We're attempting more time away from the phone, but with the VR, the headsets, it's the access to just entertainment of foolishness nonstop consistently. Because now, for the most part, we consume. We're down to like TikTok, consumption. A few minutes, few seconds, boom, scroll to the next, scroll to the next. But something like the VR headset, we're gonna get back to longer form, the content, because you just watching while you're on the train and happy because you got the face. Because the way they showed it was like, kind of like how with a green screen, like really fade in, fade out, and it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, right now, based on the first ad, the joint is big, so I can't imagine too many people just kind of wearing it out. But I guess if I'm flying, I paid $3,000 for this. The one place I don't want to pay attention to everything going on around me. That's probably good. But yeah, I think it's just gonna further separate us. Link of Shubadoo. I didn't send it. In my head, I thought I did. Oh, I failed. Abort. All right. Throw the intro on. I just wanted to have a flash moment. Flash. It's lonely at the top. Greatest movie ever. I'll grab it.
Stand up.
The link is out, guys. The new link is out. New stuff. That should be in a moment. All right, so I appreciate you guys for being here. Another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, A.D. Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator, the forgetter of all things called link to my people. I did the text message though. I did the text message, just didn't do the link. All right, so again, we appreciate you guys for being here. Could be anywhere, but you're rocking with us. Hey, listen, I want to do an experiment. When let's do it. There we go. I'm not okay, Sam. I'm gonna need some help. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Ryan, hey, buddy. Ryan, good morning. Good morning, sir. Good to see you. Oh,
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Oh, in my head,
Happy
I'm like,
Tuesday to everybody out there.
Be by myself today. I was like, but I didn't. I was sitting there thinking, like, I guess I'm gonna have to rock this by myself. But I didn't send the link out.
You were on your way because I was sure looking for the link.
All right. So welcome. So today I want to talk about shifting from neutral to drive. But before we even get into that, listen, I was so all right. I'm super digressing right now. So I was talking to my children yesterday. I was trying to get them to get into trying to help optimize my YouTube channel. and I had to fire my son. I had to fire him. Because he disrespected me. He disrespected me. It's like, Dad, don't nobody watch this kind of content. It's like, get up. Go to the room. Go to bed. So I had to kind of trying to it wasn't force. It was kind of like a strong ask. More of a violent told. So I hurt my feelings. I was like, but I had to explain to him, there's a lot of this kind of content out here. That has a lot of views, but it's just not in your world. And I get it, brother. I'm just trying to acquire a skill for you. But anyway, have you seen the Apple VR headset on purpose, accidentally on ad? Because I only really seen it. I didn't really know about it until I was about to watch a YouTube, and the ad came on, and I was saying how, for the most part, I don't know about you. I usually don't watch the ad. They may get me like an additional 30 seconds. Did you know fat disappears when you sleep? You're like, what? Wait, a what? It'll hold you like,
I'm going to bed.
Right. I'm just, okay. So how did, 30 seconds, like, oh, I see where you're going. Skip. Like, you almost got me. He said he's 50. He's 50. What do you think you'll say? I know. I'll be looking for more. Let's get Kaneem, aka Finesse, 2 times. He said my mind tired. All right, I think he has some connection freezing issues. We're gonna come back to the Kaneem. So had you seen the VR headset by any chance?
The VR headset. You talking about that little toy that little gadget that people are?
The one from Apple, though.
I don't know the difference, I guess.
I don't know if there is. Apple's is great at selling stuff, so it's probably the same thing Meta offering for $399 and Apple's offering for $3,000. So Facebook could be sitting there like, ours is the same thing, because Apple's known for it. Now I say Apple's headset is a little bigger. It's just a little bigger, a little bulkier right now. Okay. But bells and whistles and stuff. And it just, I only really watched it because I had never seen it. I was like, well, all right, you got me. I'm gonna watch it. It was like almost 3 minutes. I probably got 2.5 in. I was like, okay, I got it. You can't get any deeper. We got the special chips, Apple chips. We got the M1 and the F1 together in one headset. Like, oh, I don't care. Like, I just wanted to see how, because they showed how it worked. It's just basically your phone in your face, So that's all that was. I think the only difference was you could, block stuff out, the noise cancellation, and the screen cancellation. Like it's an adjustment. You can make everything disappear and just focus on whatever the screen or whatever. So it was interesting. Okay. And I was just talking about how it's going to further disconnect us, like not because we're already disconnected in the house, online, and just creating those relationships. But now when we go out, I'm really closed off. Like once I sit down, I turn it on. I don't know what's happening around me.
Right. Because it's bad enough to have AirPods where you can't hear anything outside of your phone, but now my visibility is going directly into a screen. Right. So now I can't hear or see.
Right. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting because like I said, now that Apple got it, you got Meta. Is soon. I'm sure Google already has something, that they probably made way back when. They just gonna revamp it. Like, hey, we've had ours for 20 years. Like, we already got it. Yeah, it's just interesting. I think more ways to distract us and disconnect us. That's my.
I just think it's more ways to make money, and that just happens to be the offset.
Yeah.
We're more distracted, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a money grab.
Oh yeah. And then what Chris just throw Chris comment back up there. He said, wonder how long before someone interrupts my VR to talk to me about my extended warranty. so that's always gonna be there. All right. So today I kind of want to just talk about shifting from neutral to drive. When you get stuck, or what helps inspire you? Do you ever have those moments when you get stuck or you get uninspired? Like you just when it's hard to just get up, and get moving. And what do you do to get out of that space? How do you shake it? How do you shake those moments? Because it could be life, could just things fall down, like you have, in life you're doing great here, but here, it's like falling apart. You got your finance straight, your marriage is struggling, kids are acting up, like I can't win. I'm doing this, but I'm not getting this. Like, why can't I have it all? Because you have your season, like, okay, we were winning here, but now we're struggling here.
Yeah.
like why can't I have, all wins? Or not even just have all wins. But how do you just get out of the negative side of it? Because things gonna always happen. Something's bound to happen. Like at the end of the day, something's gonna happen. But it's a lot of times, of course, it's our reaction to it. And how do you not let it keep you down? Let me get Mr. Cotton in the building while you ponder on that. What's up, Thomas? Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thomas ready to go because he was listening in the background. He's like, I got this.
Figure I had a few minutes to talk about how Apple's making everybody more selfish.
I was waiting for that. When he came in, I was like, oh man, here we go.
This I stuff. See, they told you a long time ago, iPhone, iPod, I. Now they're just gonna.
You got it. You got it.
There it is. We're gonna seclude you so no one else can help you save your money. You're gonna think this $3,000, oh, it's worth it.
It's worth it, kid.
And next thing you know, like all those ads we were talking about, more money. And no one else can tell you anything. Then we have all these cars all these cars that drive themselves now. So you just throw your VR head.
iCar.
And what's going to happen is it's going to transfer from your VR headset to your windshield. When you get in your car, it's just going to seamless go straight there.
Right. Watch TV while you're chilling and let the
you ever been playing a video game and after you turn the video game off, you go to sleep and you're still seeing the images of the video game in your head?
Right.
That's gonna be even more.
Nope. Fortunate for me, I've never been a video gamer.
Good.
Really?
So
you never
I haven't really been a gamer since 2005, right?
Oh, okay.
But even then, the graphics, playing Halo, I would be, meleeing people in my sleep, and so I could just imagine this VR stuff and the imagery and the graphics, how real they are.
Right.
It's gonna be crazy. So anyways, I jumped in to talk about how I makes you crazy. The eye is gonna make you crazy. I'm telling you, y'all, stay away. Don't do it.
Stay woke, my brothers. Stay woke.
Stay woke. They trying to get you. Listen, you ever want your reparations? Do not put that on. Revolution will not be televised on a VR.
No doubt. Oh man.
So what keeps you going when heaviness sets in, or distractions, which I consider disillusionment.
Mhm.
As real as it is, as real as a pain is, as real as a disruption. I think it's designed to create a false illusion.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is pressure can cause you to move away from your goal, to be
Right.
distracted from your goal. That's it, period. Uh, what I've learned is it can take you down, but it doesn't have to keep you down. Your question was, how do you prevent it from keeping you down? What is
Right.
that? I-666. Oh,
Yeah.
the evils of Apple.
The IVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what gets me up, man, when I don't feel like it, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I started early and I worked late, but I had some tension.
Okay.
You ever had a tension headache,
Hmm.
tension pain?
Hmm.
And I couldn't understand it. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I just didn't drink enough water today or something like that, because that was my thought. So I started drinking some more water and I went to lay my head down and I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh man, it's been about 30 minutes, 35 minutes that you've been sitting here.
Right.
You better get your butt up
Right.
because there's still more to do. And I think that's what happens. You're reminded that you need to take a break, but you can't break too long because there's still more to do.
Right.
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 And that whole get your butt up, that takes me all the way back to my childhood.
Right.
With mom coming in the room in the morning.
Right.
Get your butt up, because she's already called upstairs 3 times. Are y'all up?
Right.
And there's no movement. She doesn't hear the feet moving around, So there's 3 challenges. Hey, I don't hear anybody.
Right.
And on the third one, it's you better get your butt up because there's stuff to do. And so that stays with you. And for me, that's what it is. You better get your butt up because there's stuff to do. You can break, but you can't stay here in this reclined or prostrate position. So that's what it is for me, man. And I'm guilty of staying down a little longer than I'm supposed to.
Right. Right.
But it's always that constant reminder: you have got to get up because there's just more to do.
Right.
And that's how you keep from staying there too long, any place of negativity too long. But it takes time to learn that. It takes time to recognize that being productive is a valuable asset. Being productive is healthy. Lack of productivity is unhealthy, and you have to learn that. And when you've experienced some of those consequences, you learn to keep it moving and not to stay in a place too long. That's in a nutshell. That's as high in elevation as I can put it, as simply as I can put it.
You're late. You're late, Jeff. $5 for you.
He must have an iPhone.
He was stuck on that phone. Yeah. I know where it was. He was in the bathroom, stuck on the phone.
He's still in the bathroom.
It's early for Jeff.
Right.
Just asking, Jeff, are you regular? Yep, he was in the bathroom. My bad. I didn't mean to put your business out there, Jeff.
You put it out there. Don't worry. You put it out there. You always put it out there. What about you, Thomas? How do you get out of rut, get from unstuck like Chuck?
Getting stuck in a rut is not a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where the perfect storm of life can keep you in a space for way longer than you want to be.
Yeah.
It can make you not see any hope or anything. And so it's not an easy thing. So when I talk about getting out of a rut, it's not from the understanding of how tough it is to get out of a rut. It's from the aspect or standpoint where you have is what Brian said. You have no choice. But also, for me personally, for years of my life, I was stuck in a rut, and I couldn't see past my pain. I couldn't see past what everybody else was telling me about their pain. And so I would listen to so much that would feed my circumstances and situation. So number one, I had to turn off the noise. You know, the noise is one of those things that keeps us there, because I tell people all the time, and we've done it on the show, that people will go negative before they go positive. You know, 50% of all marriages do what? Fail in a divorce. No, 50% of all make it. And so we've done that before. It's that perspective of how we end up looking at life from different standpoints. I'm gonna have to mute you, AD, because you're feeding back.
You said what? My bad.
Where's my mute button? Anyways, so you know, when we start turning off the noise, we can start to see clearer, like, you know, what's happening. And then the shifting perspective is really important for me, because what situation you're going through right now is true. It's real. It's the realest thing in the world. But if you can't change what you're going through, can you change the way you see it? Is there a different way of looking at it? And so, so for me personally, I stop, I pause, and I figure out, how many different ways can I look at this one situation, and which way can I really begin to figure my way out of this situation? Or, you know, it is what it is, and just keep it moving. And then the final thing is, I mean, there's so much more, but just to keep it short, the final thing is, you got to take full responsibility. Whatever situation you're in is your responsibility. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing at that moment, that's your responsibility. No one else is going to come save you and bring you out of that. And so you got to take extreme responsibility of the situation, and begin to find the resources, the people, the music, whatever is going to pull you out of that moment.
So
and get into that and help you to just break out of that moment.
I dig what you're saying as far as the responsibility moment, right? I think for the most, I guess for the most part, I'm in my stuck space because I'm taking responsibility. But I think, but you
say that one more time, AD.
He said he's in a stuck space because he's taking responsibility.
Right. You know, like I'm down because a lot of times, excuse me, hold on. All right. I'm down because I am taking responsibility. I'm having, you know, I start my pity party, you know, the woe is me. But I do hear you as far as what you're saying, Tom, is that I think sometimes we're waiting for someone to save us, you know, to get us out of that space. Is that what you kind of saying?
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, we could be in that woes me because I am taking responsibility, because I'm feeling it. It's happening to me. It's not something that's not happening to me. I get that part. But you have in that moment, you can either stay in that moment and continue down the road you're going, or you could take responsibility and say, you know what, I'm here because I'm putting myself here, because I'm having this pity party. You know, when I broke my leg, it was terrible, and it was worse when I came out of surgery. And so I'm sitting there in the bed and I'm miserable, and you know, I'm not shaving, I'm funky, all that. I'm just kidding. I wasn't funky. But I'm sitting in the bed, and it's like 3 days later, and I'm pity party. I took this picture. It was like the saddest picture I've ever taken. Wow. And I needed to break out of that funky, and I didn't know how to, because I've never been in this situation before, and something just happened to me that was life-changing. And you know, I had to find the right music. I put the right music in my ears. You know, you talk about VR being able to, you know, it can do things like that, maybe, you know, but put the right. I was talking about the meta one. Okay,
the meta one. Oh, my bad. Yeah. My bad. Meta.
Because that's the one I can afford.
No doubt.
Anyways,
no doubt.
You know, you find ways, and then I started talking to the right people. People started coming over and sitting with me, because I couldn't get out of the bed. They just came, started sitting with me, and the right
Okay.
people started coming.
Right.
You know, we started thinking about things, and then I started remembering certain things. Like I just had quit my job, and I'm going full force into this nonprofit stuff, and I break my leg, and the momentum that I had felt like it just stopped. I
Right.
felt like, you know, why did I just left my job? You know, I took this leap of faith,
Right.
and here I am now sitting in this bed and I can't do nothing.
Right.
And I had to remind myself that if this was God's plan, you know, like me doing the nonprofit, that's God's plan, then his plan hasn't changed, regardless of what situation I'm in.
Yeah.
He's going to continue to you know, provide. He's going to continue to work this out, because remember, this was God's will. I said this is God's will. That's why I'm leaving my job. That's why so I had to put my belief system back in place also.
Right.
And so there's quite a few things that we have to do when we're in that situation. But no matter what you do, you know, I know those moments are the realest moments of your life, what you're going through. But at the same time, you got to get up and you got to figure this thing through. But you got to get the right things around you. You got to shut the noise down.
Right. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself what the real root of the issue is. You know, when you say I step out on faith and then something negative happens, where's the real issue? Is it how we perceive it, how we think about what has happened? Right? Because how we process it in our mind is how we hurt ourselves or how we help ourselves. So if I look at this disruption negatively,
Right.
and not as just an opportunity to break through something new, then I'm going to put myself in a rut.
Right.
How we think matters. And what I've learned is, and we all say this, you know, so the scripture says that so a man thinketh, so is he. You know, your thoughts manifest your reality.
Right.
So if I'm present, and this is what I've learned, any leap of faith is going to be accompanied by challenge. Any leap of faith. I don't care what it is. When you're stepping out, when you're jumping out, you're leaping by faith, you're going to be presented with challenges. How do I know that? Because you're presented with challenges whether you're walking by faith or not.
Right. Right.
Your challenges just become illuminated because they work against the progress. They work against the grain of what you're trying to achieve. And so now what the enemy tries to do is he tries to enlarge the disruption so that it becomes greater than where you believe you're going.
Right. Right.
Right. When the disruption, it's just like the children of Israel looking over into the promised land and seeing the giants in the land. Right? You're focused on how big the giants are, but not how big your God is, or not how big your faith is, and not how much you want what your desire, how much your desire is for what you're trying to achieve. That's all. That's what it is. And so any disruption is like, man, I was better off back where I was. I was better off back in Egypt. At least we could eat every day.
Right. Right.
Right.
That part.
And stepping out on faith is me not depending on someone else to feed me. It's depending on me to go out and hunt.
But it's also realizing where your supply comes from, because that's part of that faith. You got to realize that there's a different supply out there for you. You can't just jump out on faith and just, you know, I'm going to go do, because you can go do right into the same heartache that you had before if you don't recognize where your supply is coming from. Absolutely.
And here's the, like Ross Perot used to say back in the 90s, here's the beauty part. What I found is it's easy for us to put more confidence into someone providing for us as opposed to us providing for ourselves. That's why it's hard to get your children out of the house. My daughter just said, one of my daughters said this, and I'm very proud of everything that she's doing. My third daughter, which is my fourth child, said, and I'm talking about somebody who's on the dean list, heading into her third year of college, doing great, already working in her field, gets up every day, cooks breakfast, she's working out, she's doing all these things, and I'm so proud. But you know what she said to me the other day when she was home? She said, Daddy, I miss home. I miss being provided for.
Right.
You and mommy just handling it, because the more I get out here, the more I realize how good I had it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so what we do is we want to drift back to what seems easier, and we neglect to realize long term if you're just making it harder for yourself.
Right.
That's the reality. You have to learn to hunt. You have to learn to achieve. You have to learn to grow. You have to grow, not learn to grow. You have to grow and propel yourself into your next level, or else you're going to be a victim of falling by the wayside. It's really just that simple. So your thought pattern, to your point, Thomas, know who your provider is. And if you're a believer, then you know the earth is the Lord's. If you're a believer, you know you're an heir. If you're a believer, you know that the cattle on 1,000 hills belongs to God. And if you're an heir, it belongs to you. You just have to go get it. That doesn't mean go rob somebody. That means go make it happen, period. And the more we think like that, I think the easier the task becomes, and the less disruptions impact us long term.
Right. That's good.
I just want to touch on something Brian said as far as the growth. You got to grow, and situations come to our lives that help us grow, and they help mature us. They help us to see things differently. They get us out of that milk to meat stage, and if, we have to begin to look at our situations, not as burdens, but as blessings. The same thing that's a stumbling block is a stepping stone also.
Yeah.
So the same thing that's meant to trip us up is also meant to lift us up. And so we got to realize that the things that we go through in life, they're either going to lift us up or they're going to trip us up. And so
bars,
if we allow those
the same thing that trips you up can lift you up.
Yeah.
Now you got to do it like this.
And so it's one of those things where when we start looking at life differently, and we start seeing the perspective of this is meant here, it's not meant to kill me. Remember, we always say if it doesn't kill you, it's going to make you stronger.
Right.
But we don't really believe that, because when we get to the thing that feels like it's killing us, it ain't making us stronger in those moments. It's making us weaker. And we feel like when we're weak, then we're weak. And so, scripturally, when we're weak, we're strong. And so if we start thinking about how strong we can actually be in these moments, it's a matter of facing whatever it is we're going through. It's a matter of turning toward it with a different perspective, with the idea that, you know what, this too shall pass.
Right.
I just need to figure out the way through. And, we hear all the sermons of, the way out is through. And, we hear all those things, but, it's one of those things where, can we live it out though? That's what we got to begin to do. And when we're talking about walking by faith, it's living it out in those moments that allow us to be, to see and become stronger. Faith is often talked about as something being blind. I have blind faith. No, faith is something, once you've done it enough times to see that this is the way it's going to turn out, then it's never blind again, because you have all these times in your life where you've seen, I've walked by faith in this moment, and this is how it's turned out. And so your faith just continues to get stronger and stronger in the moments that become harder and harder. And so we just got to continue to exercise that faith, make it stronger. So as it's stronger, we can look back and say, no, my faith isn't blind. I've seen God show up every single time in my life. And so those are the things that we got to do as we walk forward and continue to move forward in those situations.
And your faith is your own.
Yeah.
Right. Your faith is just like your salvation. You have to work out your own. That's real. You cannot be distracted by what other people think about you, about what other people have projected to be your future. See, a lot of times we get lost in the definition that other people put on us. We allow other people to define us, right? And that becomes our thought pattern. And what I found out is the way that your mind works, your thoughts will collapse into an equivalent reality. Your world will be built and established around your thinking process, which is why when that negativity sets in, you have to start arresting the thoughts that produce that stuff. Where is this coming from? How did I get here? What about my life makes me comfortable here? I heard somebody say this about a week ago. This lady said, because I love watching action movies. I love thrillers. I love that stuff. And she said, you have to ask yourself why you're so comfortable in that realm.
Right.
Why are you so comfortable being fed violence?
Right.
Why does that entertain? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with watching movies. It's entertainment. But the question is, why are you so comfortable in it?
Right.
We find comfort in lack. We find comfort in confusion. We find comfort in frustration, right? And that's why when it happens sometimes, it becomes the bulk of your thought pattern because you're used to it. You think that that's normal. No, if that's normal, then let's be abnormal.
Right. We've been programmed. There's a lot of programming going on. We have to, make sure that we can undo the programming that's been done. That's one of the hardest things to ever do is to undo the thinking that we've learned.
Right.
Everything that we've learned from the time we were a child. We've been in households where, let's just say you've been whooped when you were growing up, right?
Right.
And the different terms and things that we've learned about how life was then, we bring it into adulthood and never challenge it. We got to learn to challenge those things. We got to learn to unlearn what we've learned.
Right.
I remember having a conversation with, this was a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Billy Alsbrooks. And Dr. Billy Alsbrooks said this. He said, defeat has to overrun your mind before it can have the rest of you, the rest of your circumstance. Think about that. You have to let it come in and take over before it can have a manifestation or have an impact on your ability to produce, to be productive. That's real. So the question is, do you recognize that the battle is in your mind?
Right.
And not in your circumstance? So overcome it in your mind so that you can overcome it in your circumstance. Now I'm quoting Noel Jones from the 90s. Overcome it in your mind before you can overcome it in your circumstance. Right? That was in his book, The Battle of the Mind. Yeah.
Definitely. And that programming and those thought patterns, I think are big because we're used to a certain thing, and when things aren't going the way we're used to going, we can get stuck and we don't know how. Like you said, when you broke your leg, you was in a space that you've never been, like kind of like a helpless space. And then Raro said something interesting. He said, let me pull it up, see if I can find it. Where we at? There we go. He said, even if you know what to do, it's difficult to get out of a storm when you're in the middle of it. You may need help you didn't ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think that's a big, because we have what we need to get out. Like, for most part, all of us have inspired somebody. It's like we have the words, we know what to say, we know, what if I was on the outside of me talking to me, I can pull myself out. But when it comes from within, I think sometimes that becomes that battle. And how do you ask for help, in those situations when you're stuck? Hey, good morning. How do you ask for help when you get in those situations where you're stuck and you don't know how to ask for help? Or have you been there? Like I said, you broke your leg, you're in this mental state, like, I'm stuck. Like, you're like, all right, all we need to do this. Like, if I can get out this bed, I can do it. I'm stuck.
So, one of the things that I talked about was how to motivate yourself back into the right mindset, right?
Right.
So you can get motivation through inspiration.
Okay.
But you only get transformation through information.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we start thinking about those things that we're looking at, that's one of the things, like Brian just quoted a book from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we have to begin to look at is, where do we find our new information to help us to transform these situations, right? We don't We don't have the information to transform the situation, but we think we should.
Right.
We think we should have all the answers. We should know this. I'm a grown man. I should know how to get myself out of it. I'm a believer in Jesus. I should know how to do this. But you don't have the right information. And a lot of times we don't put that information around us. We put the inspiration, we put the motivation, but that doesn't change the situation. And so if we're going to start looking at those things, then we have these alliterations. I'm just kidding.
Come on through, Jesse. Come on through.
I'm just saying, we have to begin to understand that information transforms situations. It's the thing that can help us to go, oh, that's what I didn't know. And so read a book, put some information on that's going to help you change, learn something new. Put yourself around people who already know how to do it. Spend some money on the people that know how to do it. So, but hey, it helps your memorization. I'm just kidding.
Yes, indeed.
But anyways, those are things that we have to begin to understand. So, it's a lot of times we don't do that. We feel like we should be self-sufficient already, but you know what? Everything in our life that we know at this point, we learn.
Right.
And so everything we're going to know as we go forward, we have to learn. Learning doesn't stop. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Isn't that right, Brian?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, so don't stop learning. Keep learning.
No doubt. He's Sean says, I love the storms when on autopilot you have went through, but realize it after you've come out, knowing you are covered and know where your help comes from. Indeed.
Good.
That's huge, man. Because a lot of times we put our dependency on the wrong resources.
Right.
Sometimes we look laterally at people instead of looking to the heavens. And what happens is when people disappoint you, you get mad at God.
Right.
And God is saying, oh no, go to the God small g that you were choosing when you was going through. Right. Now that everything is exploded, now you want to call on me, and I think that's what happens. And I listen, if you believe that you are part of God's army, if you believe that, if you truly believe it, no matter where you are in life, if you believe it, your words that come out of your mouth tell the enemy what rank you hold in God's army. Think about that.
Brian,
if you know the ranking system, right, your words reveal where you rank in your belief system.
Okay. That's good.
And that can be a scary thing.
I want to add one thing to that real quick. Your words also tell you how you're going to respond, because your words are the loudest ones you'll hear. No matter what someone else says to you, what you tell yourself is what you're going to hear. So not only are you telling the enemy what rank you're at, you're also telling yourself what you think you could do. You're also, so a lot of times when speak those things as if they were, it's not saying like I can have what I want. No, you have to speak in a way that allows yourself to see yourself in that way, to really begin to move in that way. It's not about what you can have. It's about reinforcing who you are. What's your identity? You got to understand your identity and where you're rooted at. And so, sorry, I just want to interject that part real quick.
No, that's good. You're saying it. That's because the words that come out of your mouth, literally
mouth,
MOUF, are going to mirror the inner state of the relationship you have with your God.
Right.
That's what your words do.
Indeed. Jeff said that's true. The true Thomas, our words are the loudest. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Listen, someone can walk up to you and call you a B word.
Right.
And use nothing but a B. Look at Brian's face. Look at Brian's face. Listen, Brian didn't even get called. He just thought about what to do. I wish you would. I wish you would.
No.
Wait.
Total opposite because I'm called B all the time because my name begins with B. So you call me B.
You're not the B word though. You ain't the B word. Anyways, people know. Listen, it isn't that someone called you out your name. It's what you thought about after they called you out your name. That's how you're going to respond. That's the way you begin to respond. Is the thought that you have after that moment is it's not what they say, it's what you think about what they said. And this is what I need to do. You can't, or you got that. I'm gonna walk away. Well, see, that's why I told you, no, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But a lot of times we've trained ourselves to have these initial responses that go unchecked, and they put us in situations and dig us in deeper situations. And then we find ourselves trying to figure out, how do I get out of this mess? Well, the problem is a lot of times we never stop the mess before we get there.
Right.
And we continue to create more mess, and we stack on top of stack, and then it's a much heavier lift to get out. It doesn't say you can't get out. It's
Right.
just don't compile situations because you have a moment. A lot of times, we can have a bad moment during the day, and we can say, man, I had a bad day. Right? Don't
Right.
say I had a bad day for a bad moment. Don't compile a bad moment for a long-term situation. These are bad moments. They can be recovered. As long as God has given you breath, you can recover from these moments.
Recover.
But if you do not allow yourself that recovery period or that stop and transition period, you will find yourself getting deeper and deeper. And next thing you know, life looks like hell on earth.
Yeah.
That's good.
I've learned that there's certain times in life where things get really, really hot. And that heat is a guide.
Right.
I've also learned in life there's times where things get really, really cloudy.
Right.
But sometimes those clouds are a guide. When you think about the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, they were led by some of the things we run from. Right? But here's the other part. You said something earlier, Thomas. You said that there's an old statement, old phrase, the best way out is through.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's around.
Well,
Right? That's
Right.
real. Because again, back to the scripture, when they were coming out of Egypt, they had to go around certain things, which is why they had to follow the pillar of fire by night and the cloud by day, because there are certain things that they could see visibly, physically with their eyes,
Right.
that were comfortable.
Right.
But they had to take a longer path to go around certain things and be led by God. And listen, it may take more time, but the terrain is not as rough
Mm,
Right.
when you avoid certain things.
that's good.
You don't have to go through every struggle that I went through.
Right.
Some of the guidance that I provide for you is so that you can avoid some of that stuff, get around that stuff and circumvent.
Mhm.
And that's real talk. And we have to know the difference between that. Discernment has to be active enough to where we can recognize that just because it takes longer is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I talk about shortcuts a lot of times, where shortcuts aren't created by ourselves. Every time we try to take that shortcut, it becomes a harder process. It sets you back. I mean, how many times have you tried to take a shortcut in life to get to another place and it actually worked out? I'm talking about not literally, but the other word, you know what I'm talking about.
Figuratively,
But
right.
the reality is, like, a lot of times in life when I'm trying to elevate levels, I'm taking shortcuts. Or I could cut
Right.
this off, I cut that off. I find myself having to go back and redo. And and then we say this, if I would have just kept doing this,
Yeah.
I would have been in a better place. If I would just kept doing this, I would be here now versus where I'm at right now. And a lot of times that's what I hear when I heard Brian when he was talking, is like, sometimes we don't need to take that shortcut. Sometimes we need to go around. Instead of trying to drive through downtown Atlanta, you have to hit that 285 and go around. And so
Right. Go around.
go around.
Go around.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, he said, that's true, Pastor. Sometimes complete avoidance is the best solution. He said, Jeff says, that makes sense. A bad moment isn't actually a bad day. True indeed. And I think it's just getting that stuck, that mindset of it's a moment and not considering a lifetime or a big breakup in your day or even your life. But it could feel like that. It can feel like that. and it's falling down but not staying down. Just like, oh, I tripped. Let's figure out either one, how not to trip again, and two, we gotta look forward. Like, okay, boom, this shifted, this changed, and doing something different. Sean Rollins says, I think shortcuts are great after you learn to complete the process first, so you know what it all takes. Yes, indeed.
Right.
I don't even consider that a shortcut though.
Yeah.
I think once you learn the process, it becomes easier. There's nothing. It's like surfing, for example. You can't take a shortcut trying to surf, but once you learn how to surf, it becomes easy. It becomes sport at that point. It's like Sean and his golf. There are no shortcuts to learning how to play golf, but once you play golf, it's like, oh, I got this, and now I know how to, use it better. And so,
well, why do people love Formula One so much?
Who said I love Formula One?
Why people love NASCAR so much?
What's NASCAR?
Right.
I'm just
here's what I've learned.
Fast.
If you give me the path, if you lay the path out for me, and I know where every turn is,
I can go fast.
I can go faster.
Right.
The challenge is when I don't understand the path.
Right.
Now I have to move strategically, carefully, and I have to count up the cost. I have to anticipate what could possibly be there so that I can move more carefully,
right?
Which takes a little longer.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, Sean was alluding to, the shortcuts. But the truth is, when I know what's out there, my pace can move. I can operate at a different pace.
That's good. That's good. True that.
True that. Listen, we appreciate you guys for being here. Rocking with us another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. My prayer is that you did get something out of it. I did. I need a little inspiration this morning. Some great words to kind of get you out of your rut. Need help? Ask. Sometimes just listen. I need a word. I need a little inspiration. And don't be afraid to get that help, because sometimes I think we suffer in silence, and things sit on your mind longer than they should be. So make sure you're asking for the help that's necessary, and do what you need to do. Also, continue to rock with us. We love to see you guys here. Thank you for all the love, the comments, the interaction. I prayerfully you got something, a little spark, a little jewel, like, I didn't think about that like that. So that's the goal of Brothers of Legacy, at least this broadcast. Again, make sure you share. I just found out also with YouTube, and while Thomas was getting an echo, if you go to YouTube Music, you can play the podcast live without having to have your phone on. Like, you can doing other stuff, or if you're traveling or whatever, you can listen to the podcast live on YouTube Music. So I've just begun to send the broadcast over there, so you can listen to it live. You don't have to wait for the replay or wait for it to download, whatever it does, after the broadcast ends. So you can listen to it live. So make sure you're a subscriber in the YouTube space, either on the channel or on YouTube Music. Yes, I guess you got to download another app if you don't already have it on your phone. All right, so
make sure to get it on your VR.
Yes, get that Apple. Pay that 3 G's. It's worth it. I don't know. Probably not.
There it is. See, he drank the Kool-Aid.
I saw. Did you see the ad for it? It made it look dope. All right, so we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Warning: once this broadcast ends, that ad is probably gonna bust up. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Be blessed. Keep pushing, keep growing. He said, I have 2 AI apps. So I thought, said Kim was off yesterday, so I thought it was Monday. So silly. All right. Appreciate it, Mama Corey. Thank you for always being here, rocking with us. And we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Mental Health Wednesday. Continue to make good choices, do the right thing. If all hearts and minds are clear, we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. 988, if you or someone you love is having a mental health crisis, make sure you dial 988. Do the right thing. Know that we love you. Jesus loves you better. And we'll see you in the AM. Peace out.